everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. So, working on my journal, I haven't done a lot since I videoed last. We did talk about distressing in our last video, and I was toying with whether or not to distress this journal or the pages in this journal. And it's been very interesting. I appreciate everybody who's commented, because distressing the journals is kind of my style, or what I considered my style. And it wasn't until I was replying to some of the comments that I questioned whether or not it's a style or whether it's a habit. So, and I did actually make that realization during one of my replies to somebody's comment, and it was a little bit of a light bulb moment for me, because I was like, I never really thought about that. I'd always considered it my style, and I was happy with my style and doing what I do. And I went, is distressing really my style, or is it just a habit I've fallen into? So I had a lot of great comments on the video, and I want to thank you all for that. It got me thinking about things that I hadn't really considered, and I've had a little play behind the scenes, and I think I have a plan to move forward. So I wanted to share with you all. I haven't moved forward because I did want to talk to you about what I was doing. So this is our journal as we left it. We have our papers, we have our laces, we have our inside papers for our cover, which I haven't put down because I couldn't decide whether or not to ink. And one of the people who commented, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, I should have checked before I turned the video on, suggested doing some inking on a separate piece of printed paper. And I happen to have the same backing paper here that I used, but this is copied on matte photo paper. You can see I've got ink on my fingers. Matte photo paper, and this is just copy paper. And I have inked around the edges with a couple of inks that I liked. Now, before I did that, I was fussy cutting, and I was still trying to decide what to do. And I added some inks to the outside of this piece of, it's an antique papery paper that goes with the tea set. I was fussy cutting the little images out of it, and I went, I still haven't decided, what am I going to do? So I popped some ink around the edges, and I just laid it on my page like that. And I'm hoping you can see okay. I will try and zoom in on this section to show you. So I have walnut stain, antique linen, tea dye, black soot, gathered twigs, and Victorian velvet were all colours that I thought might work. Along with that, where did I have it? I also had, so this is my vintage photo, which I popped against here, and it still wasn't working for me. It's a little bit redder in tint, and I think that's why it threw me, because it didn't work with the papers. Sorry, I've got my arm across the papers here. It just didn't work for me with the tones on the paper. And then I also had a little play with, again, just a scrap. I have old paper and weathered wood. And I actually quite like the old paper. There were images in here. Actually, I know what it was. It was, as I said, I was fussy cutting. So I had this, and I really loved that old paper against that cello or violin. So I was like, okay, that could be a consideration. But I think I've decided to go with the walnut stain. So I had decided that black soot might work. When I was fussy cutting again, I had these images and they have the black outline around them, and I went, the black works. It totally works with these papers because that's an indication. So I was like, maybe the black soot, but when I put it on here, I found it was a little bit too harsh. So when I pop the walnut stain against the papers, it really works with the writing on these papers. And this is my other kit, and it still works with the borders and things on that kit. So I think to tie it all together, I'm going to distress in the walnut stain. I'm undecided as to whether I will do just my pattern papers or whether I will also do my tea stain papers. I felt like it was a little bit dark, but the jury's out on that. I haven't decided. I do have a little bit of time up my sleeve to have a play and a think and a think and a play. So that's what I've decided to do. So we're going to go back to, oh, the other thing I did do when I was making my little tuck spots in my last video, and I was up in the air about whether or not to ink, I did feel like they were missing something if I didn't ink. So I actually have these little laces that the really bright satin ribbon that runs through the middle, I've had that ribbon in my stash for quite some time, that lacy ribbon, and it wasn't quite working for me because there's a shimmer on that satin lace, and for this project I just felt like it would work. So I cut some strips and popped them against my little tuck spots, and I really, really love it. So I'm going to go with that, but I am going to ink around it. So let's get to going. So we're just going to have a little play. I'm going to take this off and we're going to ink it up and see how it looks. So yes, it's been an interesting process. As I said, I usually ink. That's, well, part of my style, part of the style that I enjoy. I enjoy looking at it. I feel like the ink pulls it all in together, and I wasn't stressing over whether or not to ink. Well, firstly, the vintage photo just wasn't working for me like it usually does, so that kind of threw me for a loop, and I did prefer the clean, crisp look. And knowing the person I'm making this journal for, they certainly like the clean, crisp look. So I also was questioning whether I was making it with their style in mind or my style in mind. So, but it did make me question also whether or not a style is a habit. And the jury's still out on that because I'm not quite sure. And as I ink this, I'm going, maybe I should have just done it without the ink to see whether I like it. And I may do that in the future. I may work on a project. As I said, it was more about the papers that I'm using. I'm also a very heavy inker, in case you haven't noticed, and I'm doing a lighter application. So I'm not compromising, but I'm letting this process talk to me, and I feel like it's telling me that the ink is a great idea, but don't overdo it. That's what I've taken from all of this. So, and I've buried my glue book. I have no idea how far down it is. Okay, I probably should have cleared some things off my desk before I started, and I'm hoping I don't have an avalanche because I have things everywhere, but that's okay. So I hope you're all fabulous. Like I said, it's been an interesting process, and I really enjoyed what you all brought to the table. So I'd like to thank you for that. We've had some Worrying times here with the fires again just recently. I haven't really talked to you all about the fires. For me, we're not necessarily affected where we are. We're very lucky, but we've had some scary times with loved ones, friends and family who've been affected, and it appears it's happening again. So my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody I know and love, and the people that I don't know as well, because it's just a scary situation. Very scary situation. Okay, I really like that on there. So I think I'll use my art glitter glue, and I don't necessarily want it to butt it up against the edge. I want it to overhang a little bit, I think. Oh, my glue's got a blockage, it appears. Come on now, you can do it. It has been kind of fun to be challenged a little bit with my creativity. Just getting me to think a little differently about things. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoy the challenge of new ideas and new thought processes, and I do enjoy thinking outside the square. And again, I wasn't stressing. It made me giggle just a little bit when people said, don't stress. And I'm like, I'm not stressing. I just, because it made me think differently, I wanted to share that with you all, and I guess get you all thinking a little differently, or challenge you a little bit to see whether or not you've ever thought about, like, are you the sort of person when you craft who always does the same thing? Are you the sort of person who tries different things? Have you considered trying different things? So that's kind of where I was at myself, and I was like, well, I think I'm just going to share with you all. Okay, and I've nailed that distressing. I haven't overdone it, so it is just a slight little pop that I'm getting on the page, which I'm really loving. So, and I have just remembered that they are not quite the right height, so I may have to trim that just a little bit, but that's okay. Maybe with my next one I can check that before I ink it up. Actually, oops. Okay. We're expecting another warm day today, which I'm certainly not keen for, but it is what it is, really. So I have the ceiling fan going. I'm not actually sure whether you can hear the ceiling fan when it's on, whether it's a distraction for you guys. I'm sorry if it is, but it's definitely necessary. I'm telling myself while I'm inking, which is why I'm not talking a lot. I'm telling myself or reminding myself that I don't want to do it heavy. it's not, what am I trying to say? It's definitely not the way I think. I just wanted to see how much space I had once I had cut that, and it's still not too bad. I like a little bit of room at the top and the bottom just to balance it when I pop an image on like that. Oh, and I was going to let you all know, I got a bit excited. I've uploaded a couple of videos now since I've had my internet fixed, and oh my goodness, I don't want to jinx myself because it's only early days, but my new internet service is so fast. Like, the videos that I uploaded have taken, gosh, hazard a guess, a fifth of the time it was taking me to upload before. When it finished, when the last video finished uploading, I remember thinking to myself, did that really work? Has that like played up and it's stopped and I've got to reload it again? And I refreshed to see, and it was there. I was in shock. Could not believe it. I was like, that makes things so much easier. My videos have been a little bit shorter than normal because I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things, but I don't know if that makes a difference, whether I upload a longer video, whether it will take that much longer, but it gave me hope, especially after having no service or limited service for such a long time. I feel like I have a little blockage in here that just doesn't want to let go. Okay. Oops, I'm trying to work out which way to go. Got a little bit of a curl on this card. And I'm turning it over so I can make sure my lace is on here relatively straight. I wasn't quite all the way to the bottom of that, so that's why I just lifted it. Okay. Sure if I need a little bit of extra glue in there. may need to check those once they're dry and make sure they have adhered properly, I think. Okay. Oh, the other thing I wanted to thank you all was for the feedback about my Christmas altered book. I think I will continue with that in bits and pieces. I'm not going to rush it. It's not like I'm making it for Christmas, but I was kind of thinking about it. I did have people who said that they were more than happy to see the continuation of it, even though it's not Christmas. And I was thinking to myself, it may just encourage people to start thinking about Christmas preparation much earlier, and there's no real rules that say we only have to make Christmas journals prior to Christmas. So I want to finish the project, so I'm going to continue with it. I'll continue videoing and uploading. It may be a filler thing that I do between projects, so but yes, thank you very much for your feedback and for letting me know that you'd be happy to watch it even though it's not Christmas. I have a funny feeling that this year is going to get away on me, just like the last couple have. Time is traveling way too quickly for this girl. Okay. Watched a few people, oh, I forgot to ink that one. I watched a few people just recently who've mentioned that they don't like using glue sticks because they worry that it won't adhere properly. I did question, and sometimes I still do, whether or not something will adhere well. I do find with glue sticks that if I burnish it down with my bone folder, it seems to make such a difference. So that would be my tip for today, is use your bone folder, guys, because it really does make a huge difference. If there's little air bubbles and things underneath that aren't making contact with the paper, that takes care of that, and make sure that you have as good a contact with both surfaces as possible, and I just feel like it makes a big difference. So of course it is my preference, but I just thought I'd share because I've noticed a difference myself. Again, just popping this on a slight angle. So when I do that, I'm actually seeing a lot of the texture from my brown paper and gesso coming through that paper, which also makes me think that it's making good contact. So, okay, and attaching my lace. I really love that I found the perfect project for this lace. Oh, I'm following the line of the printed paper, and it's not straight, Sharon. Whoopsie. May have a little bit of excess glue to clear up there, I'm thinking. Goodness me. No, no, it'll cover it. Too funny. And again, furnishing that down. Personal preference, guys. May even pop a stitch in there. I haven't decided yet. I usually sew these on, but I think I'm going to glue them on because I'm just not... I feel like all they need is gluing on, basically. Okay, love those. Love, love, love. I think the lace made a huge difference. I do want to see if I can trim this one while I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to take a little bit from the top and the bottom because I've already attached everything. I want it to be balanced. Okay, and so a little distress, done. Oops. And I'm just looking at this tuck spot and the fact that I haven't got the paper inked. And I actually still really, really love it, even though the edges of the paper aren't inked, which I'm just questioning whether I need to ink those or whether just inking the pattern paper will be enough. I'm steering towards not inking, but not inking my... I've taken an extra sheet out of one of the signatures and I don't know which one. I'll have to look into that later. Whoops. Okay. Now I need to decide what I'm going to do next, and I was thinking, I didn't find paper for that idea. Let me have a look. I would like to make layered... Oh, I didn't put my lid on my glue. No wonder I end up with little blockages. Okay, I might take a little bit off that. I would like to make some layered pockets, so how much do I want to take off it? Maybe there. Okay. feel like that would be a good size. Fabulous. I'm happy with that. So let's do a couple more. I just have a book here that I've torn pages out of. They're ready to go, so I don't have to tear them out on camera. Yes, I'm working in my 3s again because I have 3 signatures. I can't help myself. Who knows if I'll use them all. Oops. I do love these layered pockets though. I feel like they're a great go-to. They're fun to make, and I feel like they make a really big impact. They add a lot of interest to a page. And because I don't want to do or over embellish, over decorate this journal as far as pockets and things, because these have multi-layer ephemera options, I feel like that adds lots of that without affecting all the pages. Okay, so keeping the pages that I tore at the same time together, just in case there's any variations in size. And as you know, I haven't measured these. All I did was measure the length of the book, and I'm trying to keep each of these little separations somewhat similar. They're not exact, but, and that's just because that's what I like. So if you want some really skinny pockets and then some really deep pockets, you can totally change up how you fold your paper. Okay, so they are ready to go. A quick ink. And I don't need to do that. I thought I was inking the bottom of the one that goes inside, but I'm not. I'm actually really loving that walnut stain on this paper. Oops, wrong way around. So that one is from the Tea journal paper, and then I have so this one is Love Paris Collection 1. I really love that. I like that page. Let's just choose one for now. Okay, so I need to take the edges off. I have bits and bobs all over the place here. Feeling I'd do that. Never mind. I can't pick it up. Okay, how am I going for time? Getting on. I'll keep going with these until I run out of time, and then I'll probably stop the video, and not sure if I'll continue off camera or not. Maybe I can finish these off camera. You've seen me do these before. And then if I'm doing something else, I can come back on. So I just want to check that my width here. Yes, it will work for that one. And it will work for that one. So I can just tear my papers and have them ready. So I actually really like this side as well. Okay. And for the Tea journal kit, the papers I have to play with for that kit are the same as the ones in the signatures. I'm not sure if I've used that piece of paper from the Love Paris collection one in my signatures or not, but I have 4 collections there to play with, so I'm just pulling out the ones that catch my eye for what I'm using them for. And I really do love the way they all work together. It's just incredible. And they're quite different, but the color tones, they just complement each other. Sherry at Antique Papery does an incredible job with her papers, and I'm so thrilled to be able to use them. I'm going to take this from the center, I think. Sorry about my phone. It's a pretty little border piece that I can use later. Going to lose the handle off that teapot, but never mind. Okay, more fun scraps. Now, let's see, I've got a slightly curved edge here, so I cannot see the top of my paper very well. Yep, that works. And I'm going to do, actually I should check. Yep, that works. So I'm just taking the next section, and like I've done with my previous layered pockets, I'm going to alternate the papers. So this one in here, need some paper clips. And I think I can use this as a guide for that one, yes, and that one as well. Perfect. Takes the guesswork out. I really love the green on this tea paper. So I'm really just checking how it looks and make sure I'm happy with it before I continue with the next one. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, that's our first layered pocket. So I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to use these papers. I'm just going to check that this is going to work for each section, and it will. Do I want, I think I'm going to take it from the top. I won't be able to do my third layered pocket. I've only got one page from the T junk journal set that is printed single-sided, so, or maybe I'll use just one that's double-sided and I can just choose which side to use. I've got them printed already, so, and I think I'm going to go from the top on this one as well. Starting to get hungry. It's almost lunchtime and my belly is telling me it's hungry. Okay, so I think I want the T at the top. I just touched the camera with my head. I'm sorry about that, guys. I hope I didn't bump it too much. Do I want to come up a little bit? I feel like I do. So just because I want to see more of the teacups to tie them in together. And this was at the top. And then this one. Okay. Oh my gosh, they're going to be pretty. Look at those. So, so pretty. How am I going for time? Actually, I might be able to incorporate that because it has the little teacups rather than using one of the papers from the tea journal set. Another reason they work so beautifully together, these sets, I forgot about that. Oh, and I really like that. But I want something a little bit, they're very similar, the flowers. Kind of liking the clock just for something a little bit different. Let's go with that. I should have probably mentioned that these two papers have come from Love Paris Collection 3. And, oops, I should check my pocket first. I did this once and didn't check all of my pockets to make sure that this same size piece of paper would work in all of them, and it actually didn't. and I ended up with papers that were too small. So that's why I like to check each one, and that works. Obviously, if you've measured yours exactly and used the paper trimmer to cut them, it's not going to be an issue, but and I want the top of this one, I think. Looks like it's slightly wider. I'm not quite sure. Could be the way I've torn it. Should be okay. So may take just a little off. Too fun. And then, lucky last, I'm rushing this because I'm trying to get it done before I run out of time. Oops. It's funny how you always slip like that when you're in a hurry. I've got a little scrap bag behind me that I'm going to use the scrap papers, all these little bits and pieces, to make some more recycled paper. So I apologize, I keep leaning back. I forgot to get myself a little scrap bowl. I think it's over yonder before I turn the camera on. And I was piling them next to me. I do have a few there and they get in the way. So that's why the little scrap bowl is handy, because it keeps things contained. Okay, now I need to decide where. Thinking about there. Okay, sorry, I had a little itch in my eye. And I kind of want thinking about there. I'm trying to visualize how the images will be on the pocket. Okay, some fun little scraps out of that. Okay, and this one goes down here. And this one here. Oops. Okay, so that is our 3 pockets. Very, very easy to make, but fun impact on a page. And if I get, oh, I just remembered I've got to find out where that tea stain page went, in which signature. If I get this, just take that away. And you can see it makes a really big impact. If I take it, I probably won't pop it near that pattern paper, because I think for the impact it gives, it's really fun to have in the middle of the signature somewhere. Love them. Love, love, love. So I will ink those up, and I'm just going to use a glue stick to stick my pattern paper down, and I may stitch around them, or I may just glue them. I haven't decided yet. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'd like to thank you for all of your comments about whether to ink or not ink. There were some really, really helpful suggestions and comments, and I truly appreciate you. I really, really love that basically we brainstormed together to find a solution that I was happy with, and I love that as a crafting community we can do that. So I'd like to thank you all. I look forward to seeing you soon, everybody. Happy crafting. Bye for now.